public, if you can pull up that article, it's a topic we haven't reacted to and had a conversation about yet. You guys obviously heard this. Alex Jones ordered to pay $965 million for the Sandy Hook lies until the political right argues this movement from its ranks. None of this ends. Senator Chris Murphy, 965, and the way they came up with this number is to say that he used Sandy Hook to make a lot of money for himself. So the judge is ordering him to pay $965 million. This can go to anybody. When you first heard this number, I mean, I understood some number was going to come out, but when you heard this number, 965, what was the initial reaction?
That's a lot of money.
I think so as well. I think it's a lot of money. Tom, what was your reaction when you saw this?
I think the verdict there in the penalty phase is political grandstanding. Basically, what they're saying is whoever you are, and let's set Alex's sins aside. But they're saying is whoever you are, if we don't like you and you stand up to the scrutiny and you lose in this forum, we're going to take everything from you. Yeah. That's the message that's being played out here. Set aside the things that Alex did well, Alex didn't do well, the people that believe Alex, the people that don't. Set aside all that. This is a political message that says we now have a precedent. And if we don't like you and we can take you to the mat in court, we will take everything from you.
I mean, for me, this comes down to everything that's kind of been in the political circles for the last 5-10 years is what's the truth and what's just fake news. And this is as fake news as it gets as far as Alex Jones and the Sandy Hook lie. And he is paying the ultimate price for a massive, to be blunt, like horrible, shitty lie. And I 0% support Alex Jones in this arena on this. With that being said, again, not a fan of Alex Jones. What he did is disgusting. But that doesn't mean that other things he says are now untrue, right? Like you're going to have to kind of separate this horrible lie that he's going to have to pay the price for forever, $1 billion almost. And then he does have other things he has to say, which may or may not be true or false. I don't know. But this was a very, very bad lie, and he's paying the price for it.
Now, there's been a lot of giant verdicts like this in history that no one believes that pennies are ever going to be transferred,
Yeah. I'm sure he doesn't have $965 million.
It's a completely different thing, but OJ lost the civil suit. And, even pawning off his Heisman Trophy and all, now that's much different. I mean, a crime was committed there. He lost that suit. But, the Goldmans never got back tens of millions of dollars for their legal fees and everything else and the loss of their daughter.
Sometimes when you... Go ahead. You were going to say something.
I was just going to say random note. So Alex Jones and myself connection, we were just both on the bestseller list. So when I was number 6, like USA Today and Wall Street Journal a couple weeks back, and I looked on it, and Alex Jones had the, I think, number 1 book, number 2 book at that time.
He needs to sell 1 billion copies.
Yeah, he does. That's right.
He needs to sell about 1 billion. So more than the Bible's ever sold to pay this.
In terms of pure money, what happens with? Is he ever going to pay this? Is he bankrupt? How does this work? Follow the money.
No idea.
First of all, this is. I have some thoughts on this, and this is what my thoughts are. You know how sometimes somebody you hate, which this is on a list of a person that a lot of people hate. I mean, this guy's hated by the people on the left. Many liberals cannot stand this guy, and they're glad he got this. And there are people that think this wasn't enough. There's some that would like to see this guy go to jail and spend time in jail for the rest of his life. Many people can't stand this guy. Having said that, there are a lot of people right now that, they're sitting on what they're thinking. They're sitting there saying, oh, shoot, I told a lot of lies at CNN. Oh, my God. What is this all about? I mean, believe me, I can't stand this guy. But, dude, $965 million? Are you out of your mind? Like, when the Me Too movement came out and in Hollywood, first person got the Me Too movement, you all of a sudden saw a lot of players, a lot of big names are like, let me not attend the next party. And those pictures that were taken with me at a party with this guy named, what's his name? Epstein, whatever the guy's name is. I want to make sure I've never been with that guy anywhere, right? So So the moral of the story is the following. One, how they came out with the number, they're claiming he made this amount of money. Okay, fine. Number two, if the standard is now that a person who's got opinions lies, you sue them, well, let me tell you, there's a lot of people in media that are about to get sued heavily by a lot of families that were affected by things like this, and it ain't going to be pretty. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here defending what he said or what he didn't say. That's not my position. My position is the following. Remington got sued last year for $73 million that they paid. You know for what? For somebody else using a Remington gun to kill somebody they loved. And the family got $73 million. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. San Diego family settled for $73 million with gunmaker Remington. What did Remington do wrong? But here's the other part. If you go a little bit deeper, if you go a little lower so we can read the article, can you zoom in a little bit more? So the families of 9 victims, San Diego Family Foundation, Tuesday have agreed to a $73 million settlement lawsuit the model maker rifle used to kill of a lawsuit against the maker of the rifle used to kill 20 first graders and 6 educators in 2012. Okay, the case was watched closely by gun control advocates and gun rights supporters and manufacturers because of its potential to provide a roadmap for victims of other shootings to sue firearm makers. This has got nothing to do with guns in my eyes. This has got nothing to do with guns in my eyes. Can you do me a favor? Can you go pull up how many people got killed by a car accident last year? How many people died from a car accident last year? So doesn't this set the precedent for somebody to be able to sue a car maker to say, my loved one died by the car that you made? So you made, but what do you mean? I didn't drive it. I understand, but you made this Ford Focus. You made this Tesla.
It's like Waukesha or Wisconsin. The guy drove the Ford through the parade. So now you're making the case that you could go sue Ford because this guy drove the Explorer through the parade.
Well,
and killed
that's
20
what they wanted
people.
to avoid here. The reason Remington settles for $73 million, which I can pretty much, I'm going to go out on a guess here, is that their corporate insurance paid that, right? To get the settlement, they say, listen, we'll drop the suit and settle, but you're my insurance company. You got to pay the 73. They're like, done. Here's what we don't want. We don't want the legal precedent. There's no precedent here. There's a precedent of settlement, but there's no legal binding precedent. Do you see? So there is no court case to go back to as a hard legal precedent. That is a disaster if you're a gun maker or a car maker or anybody that uses something. So Remington, I think, used insurance money here, said, let's get this thing out of the headlines. Let's finish this thing up and let's get out.
What's the alternative if they don't? Say they say, we're not going to do it.
They go all the way and they have a risk of a crazy liberal jury, handing down a legal precedent. And then basically it becomes just like those class action asbestos lawsuits. Buckle up. Everybody who was ever nearly... You see the asbestos ads that are on everywhere on news shows from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
I don't know.
Once you have a legal precedent, that's what you get. You get class.
I get that. But you know what happened with Candace Owens yesterday with her documentary that came out? Did you hear about this?
No, what happened?
That George Floyd's family, they're considering suing them for the Black Lives Matter documentary that she made. Right there. Click on that story right there, trending news. So George Floyd's family feels betrayed by Kanye West as they considered suing rapper and Candace Owens after Kanye West falsely claimed George Floyd died from fentanyl and not an officer's knee on his neck. The family's lawyer says by the end of the week we'll have at least an idea of what claims are viable. Go a little lower. So now an attorney for the family, Candace's 46-year-old. Attorney Lee Merritt confirms to Rolling Stone that the Floyd family is considering pursuing a legal case against the rapper and say that he is also looking into whether ultra-right-wing pundit Candace Owens could be held liable as well, since West has plucked a debunked claim over her new Daily Wire produced documentary, The Greatest Lie Ever Sold. This is the whole BLM thing. And while Merritt acknowledges that there's no real grounds to pursue the defamation claim on behalf of the deceased person, he says the near $1 billion judgment that Sandy Hook parents, there you go, bingo, that San Diego parents won against InfoWars' Alex Jones, spreading conspiracy theories, presents a possible pathway for legal recourse.
But not a decision precedent.
I understand that, but Tom, 965, 73 million. This could be the new thing that people are going to see this and say, look,
I agree.
Go there and just get a settlement. They will most likely settle with you because they don't want to drag anything out.
I doubt Daily Wire has the kind of legal liability insurance that Remington has.
Well, and I also
You
doubt.
hope, or you said you hope.
I doubt, because remember the
No way
insurance
they
is
don't have that
the
kind of-
insurance is always the pocket you go after.
Well, and let's not forget that George Floyd had enough fentanyl in his system to kill a horse, so they don't have a case here. He did have enough. There were 2 different autopsies done on George Floyd. One of which said he died of a drug overdose. The second one said he died of a knee on the neck. And let's not forget, there was a 9-minute tape of the knee on the neck. There was 9 minutes before that of George Floyd walking around. You could tell he was under the influence of drugs. You could tell all these things. So this is not an apples to apples comparison. Daily Wire could actually make a case here. I doubt they would lose this lawsuit.
But yeah,
or settle.
I understand what you're saying. So I understand.
But Jones provides the precedent for them to go after.
All I'm saying is people are looking at this and they're like, oh my God, let me go get some money. There's free money there. Let me go sue this guy. Let me go sue this guy.
I agree.
This is becoming, for folks who. I remember one time I was at an event. George Will was speaking, and George Will. This is at Miramar Hotel Santa Monica, 2000 and I'll give you the exact date, March 20-something of 2009, and he gets up and he says, "Do you know why these fishing hook companies, how they sell the hook, and why they have to put a warning sign on it now? Because a parent sued one of the companies saying you didn't put a sign on there saying you shouldn't swallow. My kid swallowed it, and it hurt his belly, so they sued the company." He says, "Do you know why so many parks in America are being shut down? Because lawyers go sit there and watch a kid fall and break their hands, and they're suing the city, and they're getting money out of it because cities are settling. So they're saying, hey, get rid of the parks. We're getting too many of these lawsuits, so kids are now, obesity is going higher." These types of lawyers many times ruin a lot of different good things. So you have to know, like going back to the same thing with McDonald's hot coffee case, I'm not comfortable with this, man. I'm not comfortable with this. I think a lot of people are just sue happy, and they're litigious, and they're going to look at going after a lot of different people, and many are going to settle because they have the pockets. But Alex Jones does not have $965 million.
So I got a point on this. So in my ordeal, I had some media, some publications in my book that ran not only, we hate Stuart Scheller or their opinions, but like factually untrue things, right? And so I actually looked into a defamation suit, and I was told that it would be very hard to prove because I was considered a public figure. And so once I make the videos and I'm a public figure, I go into a different class of legality. So when you think of Sandman, that kid with the Trump hat, or you think of Kyle Rittenhouse, they're private citizens. So when they sue these people, it's different than if Stuart Scheller were to sue them. And the lawsuit, I've talked to 3 different lawyers, the lawsuit all 3 of them brought up was Sarah Palin suing some newspaper. I can't remember if it was the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, but she sued them because that paper alleged that she had something to do with the school shooting, and she lost because she was considered a public figure. And so when you're talking about
New York Times.
Yep. So when you're that case right there set a lot of precedent that, like, if someone named Stuart Scheller has a YouTube video and it gets 1 million views, and then newspapers run factually untrue things, the lawyer's advice to me is you're probably not going to win because you're a public figure. Go look at Sarah Palin. And so you got to kind of differentiate the cases here. Sandy Hook parents are considered individual people. They're not considered public figures, whereas Alex Jones is a public figure. So Alex Jones going to sue someone because he got his feelings hurt, it would be a different level of legality that he would have to get. Now, where I don't know where it stands, George Floyd, is he a public figure or is his family a public figure? I don't know the answer to that question, but there is a delineation there.
There's also the media's given the malice defense. If there's absence of malice, hey, we don't hate former Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller. We were just reporting the news.
Yeah.
And the best facts to the best of our ability, that was the news of the day, and we were reporting it. And so that's referred to as the absence of malice defense.
I mean, they compared me to Hitler in one of the, I served my country for 17 years. I mean, some of the stuff they said,
And that's where the malice line crosses. So when you make metaphors that are inflammatory versus just reporting it, and then they hide behind, well, you're a public figure.
That's right.
But there is a line there that they can't cross. Even the media can't cross.
Even the media can't cross. What happened the last 6 years with what a lot of these platforms and media companies did talking about?
It's got to be big enough. It's got to be stark enough, and you have to have enough resources that you can take it all the way.
Here's a question. When has a public figure won a lawsuit against a news publication? Like, when's the last time that happened? I can't even think of one, right? And so maybe a viewer can, in the comments section, drop that. But I would like to know, because quite honestly, the media it doesn't necessarily always report misinformation. Sometimes they just report the information that they want. But when they say factually untrue things, like, how are we holding them accountable? And that's where, I really started getting frustrated through my ordeal, because imagine a Marine officer that legally can't speak in the media because he's under a gag order, and the media getting to say all sorts of things, some of them factually untrue. Like, there should be some type of legal recourse for that. When we're talking $965 million, you know what I mean? And then here I am, and I'm not able to sue anyone because I'm considered a public figure. It seems weird.
You say the last time that a public figure
won a lawsuit against a news publication.
The first thing that comes to mind is that whole Gawker, Peter Thiel, Hulk Hogan, whatever that whole thing was.
I don't even remember that.
Wasn't that a thing?
Yep. And it wasn't a lawsuit, but the Bush administration took Dan Rather to the mat, and he got fired.
Yeah. The president, I think, has a little bit more power, though. I don't know if that's a great analogy.
No. Correct. But the point is, it happens, but it's rare. And if a news media organization just says, well, we're just reporting the news, then they are completely unassailable. I mean, you're not going to be able to knock that over. But when you've got what Gawker did with Hogan, if you're willing to go long enough and pay for it, you can go get it done, but it's rare and it's hard.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.